Hi everyone, today we're talking office ergonomics when working or studying from home. If it's your first time tuning in, I'm Dr. Giancarlo Carpino. I'm a chiropractor in Calgary, Alberta. In addition to the clinical practice that I do every day, I've spent a lot of time in the biomechanics research realm. I'm an expert in ergonomics, so I've done lots of in-office and on worksite ergonomic and biomechanical assessments, and I love talking about our home office ergonomics. On the slide here, you can see I put a recreational athlete. Recreational should be bold and underlined. Maybe athlete should be a past tense statement. Regardless though, it's important. I put it there because I like to play sports, go on hikes, walk my dog, that kind of thing. And when we're talking about ergonomics, we need to think about what we love to do outside of work. So if I love to play sports and go for hikes, for example, I need my body to be able to do that after work. So let's take a moment and set our intention. Think, what do you love to do outside of work? And what do we have to modify at work to make sure your body feels good enough for you to do those things? Let's get into it. We're talking about ergonomics today. It comes from the Greek word ergon, meaning work, nomos, meaning law, and in general, it's the study of work performance with an emphasis on safety and productivity. This could happen, at a desk, at an office workspace. It could happen at a workbench, at a manufacturing warehouse or facility of some kind. Ergonomics is everywhere. And the last photo I have there is of the space station. So when the NASA engineers were thinking about designing an environment for astronauts to live and work in space, ergonomics would have been one of the most important things for them to consider. Ergonomics is everywhere. Our plan today is to talk about some of the basics of ergonomics. Really, we're doing the quick and dirty version of it today, compared to what I might talk to a company or something. We'll talk about kind of the best bang for your buck stuff. So regarding eye strain, using Microbreaks, seated position for least body strain, and our workstation positioning and equipment. Ergonomics matter because we spend most of our day at work. We want to be able to enjoy our time at work, but also away from work. And if you're too tired or sore after work to do the other things you like doing, your ergonomics, might be a good place to start. Like I asked earlier, what do you do when you're not at work? Do you like to hang out with your friends or family or do an activity? And does our workday influence what we're able to do after work? We want to try to improve that if that's the case. Our purpose today is to understand working from home ergonomics a little bit better and to review several scenarios we can choose to improve. We won't dabble too much into the science of ergonomics. We'll keep today really practical. Hopefully by the end of our talk, you can make some changes at your laptop that you're watching from right now. Our goal is to help you be more comfortable and productive so that you can enjoy your work and also be able to do the things that you love when you're done work. So let's get into it. When we're thinking ergonomics in general, it's related to how we use our bodies and our tools at work, but it also includes designing our workspace and behaviors to keep us healthy and productive. Most of us forget that our behaviors are super valuable parts of our ergonomics. How do we use our bodies at work? You might think to yourself, you do repetitive muscle movements, whether that's typing, holding our joints in certain positions, reading, maybe if we have to stand all day or sit all day. We are using our bodies, so that means we have the potential to feel a little sore after. So what can we do to say maybe our arms are sore at the end of the day from typing all day? Is there a way that we can modify our behaviors or our equipment so that our arm isn't sore? That's kind of the mindset we're going into today. We used to have this conversation kind of in person in a big group at the office, but we're more and more these days we're working from home. We're going from having all the luxury things at work to the stuff we have at home. So this might be from deliberate offices to working at the kitchen table, using fancy office chairs to using whatever chair or couch we have around. Maybe going from our company paying from fancy equipment to using whatever we have around just to get work done. Even having enough workspace to not enough workspace, that kind of thing. In general, there are always more and more fun ergonomic things we can buy to improve our lives, quote unquote. But today we'll focus on the cheap, accessible examples of improving our ergonomics for everyone. We're going to get started. The first thing we'll talk about is eye strain. So, rhetorical question, have you ever had sore eyes from working at a desk or reading at a desk for a long time? What about looking at a computer monitor? Is the eye strain better or worse when using say a piece of paper or a book compared to a computer monitor? Our eyes often feel sore. They feel sore from either the muscles that move them around, getting a bit of a workout, or how our brain interprets, what it's being exposed to. Our whole visual system is involved. A big cause of strain, eye strain, is glare. So glare is, we're all familiar with it. It causes our brain and eyes to have to work harder than they normally do, which can give us some grief, whether that be in the form of a headache or neck pain, for example. There's also blue light that comes from our screens. That's very stimulating for our brain, but it can become wearisome after day in and day out. So here's glare, the three different kinds of glare. There's direct glare, say a light or the sun is shining right in your eyes. There's indirect glare, that's if that same light source is, say, bouncing off of your desk and still shining in your eyes. The other form is called masking. That's when that light source is reflecting off of your computer monitor, and it gives you that big kind of white streak across your monitor that you feel like you have to move around or look around, and it just makes our eyes a little bit more strained throughout the day than we would like. So here's my first recommendation to decrease eye strain. It's regarding positioning ourselves to decrease glare. If you're able to, the best way to reduce eye strain from glare is to make yourself perpendicular to that light source. So you and your monitor having the light source beside you. Here in my example, we have the sun shining through a window, and if you're able to make it so that's beside you, then that decreases the amount that glare affects you. You typically have more ability to shift your workstation at home compared to at the office, so if you can, that's wonderful. If you're not really able to move your workstation around, the next best thing is to have blinds or some kind of covering for that light source that you have control over, so you can open them or close them as needed, and that way you can adjust your exposure to light throughout the day. Next up, we have eye strain. So this is regarding if you need to squint or lean towards your computer monitor. So this might cause neck pain or headaches throughout the day. If you can't move your workspace around to resolve this using your posture, consider getting your eyes checked or update your glasses prescription. It's something we often forget, but it's super helpful for us if we tend to keep getting headaches and neck pain. A great tip that I tell my patients is the 20-20-20 rule. This is every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away and hold that gaze for 20 seconds. It just gives your brain and your eyes a chance to have a break and look at something different. Let's try that right now. Why don't you look up from your computer, look at something 20 feet away, and then just hold that thought. You probably feel a little bit better from that already. When you do come back, we're going to talk about microbreaks next. Microbreaks, you probably know, they're small or brief behaviors which allow our body to relax or just change which tissues are carrying the load. They're short, they're voluntary, they're impromptu respites throughout the workday. Microbreaks in general, they're just great for our body. They're great for our mental health, as well as they help keep us focused when we need to kind of buckle down and get some work done. Just note that moving the load around the body in any way is better than having to stay still for an extended period of time. Not to dwell on it, but the reason we use microbreaks, it has to do with this property of our body tissues called viscoelasticity. It has to do with our body tissues are full of water, and as water moves in and out of those tissues, the rate that they return force or the rate that they change shape varies depending on the water in them. Just kind of in general, the way to apply this is moving between postures every 20 to 30 minutes is better than one ideal posture, so to speak. Examples of microbreaks, these are great. So the way we design our workspace, instead of having, for example, your printer right beside you, on purpose, place the printer across the room so that you have an excuse to stand up and walk over to the printer just to get some movement so that you can get out of your seat. There's, walking to the kitchen to make a tea or a coffee every now and then, again, just as an excuse to get up and move. There's standing to do some stretching. You don't have to do it for too long, even just a few seconds is great. If you need to think, if you can stand up and walk around, or if you typically stand up, can you sit down to do that same thinking? Or doing some kind of movement routine is a great step. Let's try a micro break together. So if you can sit back in your chair or stand up, put your arms by your side and kind of do some shoulder rolls for me, forwards and backwards, lean to one side, lean to the other. Do that one more time. Good. And even just from a little motion like that, you probably feel kind of nice. A great movement routine that you can use is called Straighten Up Alberta. You just type in Straighten Up Alberta into your, into Google, and then it'll come up with the Alberta Chiropractor's website where you can download an awesome free PDF of some stretches and movements you can do throughout your workday to keep you feeling good. We're going to move on though. Let's talk about the seated position for least body strain. We do sit mostly at work these days, so if we need to sit for hours at a time, why don't we find a way to make it a little better on our bodies? Let's design our chairs, our workspace to decrease the load on our bodies. So you might notice chairs often have a slight backwards angle so that when we lean back in them, the muscles of our back can relax. Otherwise, they would be constantly on to keep us upright. Quick question, do you have enough leg room at this exact second? Are you able to stretch out your legs and kind of help your knees and ankles and hips feel good when you need to? Or is there a giant box underneath your desk and you have to hold your legs to one side and you don't have enough room to move around? Let's just pay attention to how our workspace is. All right, sitting in posture. So in your chair, if possible, sit all the way back in your chair for back support. This uses less energy than using our postural muscles to keep us upright all day. It also lets us use the low back support in the chair. If your chair doesn't have an intentional low back support, you can put a small pillow behind your low back, or you can roll up a towel and put that behind your back to provide extra support. Your seat height, if possible, should allow your ankles and knees both to rest at 90 degrees. And if you're able to have a footrest of some kind, this allows you to move your feet around, vary your leg position, but still have your joints and legs supported while you're having to sit for a long time. Remember that after some time, any body position will become uncomfortable or cause excess strain on the body. So there's no ideal posture. Moving around is better than having to sit or even stand in the same position for hours at a time. Regarding chairs, working at home, I know we just use whatever we have around, but office chairs tend to have a lot more ergonomic features than a standard chair, whether that be a backrest that goes up and down, a headrest, all those levers on the sides of chairs that you can adjust the angle of the seat pan or how far you can tilt back or forwards or that kind of thing. Usually, if you're able to, I recommend go get yourself an affordable office chair that has some of these features which, if possible, allow you to actually kind of make your ergonomics a little better if you're working at home for the foreseeable future. Moving on though, let's talk about how we set up our workstation. Proper workstation setup can keep our bodies happier, especially over the course of a whole work shift or a whole week of working. Positioning our equipment in the right locations and using better tools can prevent, that wear and tear on our body tissues, which makes us a little sore at the end of the day. So here's how we set up our desk space. You'll see the star right in front of this guy. That's kind of your main workspace, and keep that area clear so that whatever tool you're using, you're able to work right in front of you at a comfortable position. Then you'll see there's different work zones the further out you go. So basically keep the tools that you use most often closer to you. If you're at your desk right now, you can look around and start moving things around. It doesn't make sense that the tools you use more often are further away, so you have to reach further, exert your body, twist and bend in weird ways to use those tools. Just keep them closer to you and tuck those tools that you use less often further back on your desk. If we're sitting at the desk and you use the phone a lot, using a headset of some kind will help keep your arm and neck muscles way happier. Adjust the seat height of your chair so that your legs are slightly angled downwards, knees bent to 90 degrees, ankles comfortably at 90 degrees as well. Adjust the height of your chair so that the arms don't get in the way. The arms of your chair don't get in the way, excuse me. Your elbows should be able to rest beside your body at 90 degrees, and if the chair arms are in the way so that you can't sit all the way back in the chair when you roll it up to your desk, consider using a different chair or even just remove the arms of the chair altogether. Your wrist should be minimally flexed while typing or mousing or using whatever tool that you're using. If you're using a screen or if you're having to read a lot, position that the top of the screen or the top of that book so that it's right at eye level. That means when you slightly relax your head and you look down a little bit, you're looking right in the middle of the screen. Typically keep your screen at an arm's distance away from you, but the bigger the screen, the further away you can have it. And don't forget to adjust the font size so that it's easier to read and you're not squinting and leaning in like we talked about. If you're using a laptop, consider putting it on some kind of box or that kind of thing so that you can get that screen at eye level. You can use a separate keyboard and mouse so that the monitor can be in that ergonomic position and you can still comfortably use your tools. All right, now we're on to the part where we talk about just more random ergonomic solutions, aka the random stuff that we can buy and other stuff we haven't touched on yet. So we were just talking about using a laptop, so here's an example of that. You can get a Bluetooth or wired keyboard and mouse for really affordable. These are in Canadian dollars. And a stand for your laptop, it's a little more sleek than a big box or old textbooks stacked on up. It's a bit of an investment, but it's a great tool to help your ergonomics and keep you feeling happier throughout the workday. If you have to mouse a lot for work, a lot of folks find benefit from changing how they mouse often. So they might use their right hand to mouse during the morning and their left hand to mouse during the afternoon. Some people will change up how they mouse every different day. They use a different mouse, or they will alternate between using a mouse and using a trackpad. There's no one best mouse the same way there's no one best way to sit or one best chair. Basically just varying how we load our bodies is the best way to keep ourselves happy and healthy. If we need to read a lot at work, say reading books or documents, that kind of thing, consider a document holder. They're not too expensive. They come in all shapes and forms, whether they are sitting on your desk or attached to your monitor. It's just another great tool that can help you not have to squint and bend forward and cause that upper back strain throughout the day. If those eyes are sore from all that reading you need to do, you've probably heard of anti-glare lenses for your monitor screen or blue light filtering glasses. Both of these are great strategies just to take some of that extra blue light or extra load off of your visual system to kind of keep your eye muscles and your brain a little happier throughout the workday as well. I'm sure you've heard of standing desks as well. So there's a whole bunch of different kinds. Some are more expensive than others. Some, are kind of big and have everything you might need for a workstation. Some of them are more slender and sleek. Any of them are good. Any tool that allows you to go from sitting to standing, throughout the workday is a great way to stay productive and to stay at your desk, keep working, but the key is to actually use them if you do have one. If you're not at the office, whether that be at your home or at the office, there's other solutions too. Just get creative. So whether you take your computer and you put it on the kitchen counter, or at a hotel, you can pull out the ironing board. There's tons of ways just to keep yourself, able to stand and change how you're loading your body. For our feet, we have footrests. They come in different shapes and sizes. Whether it's an anti-fatigue foot mat or something you use while standing or something you use while sitting. They're just great tools, great investments to keep your knees and your hips and your ankles in that 90-degree-ish position where you can move throughout the day and still be able to, put load through your body in different ways and shift where that load is going. All right. So in closing, that was our rush version of working from home ergonomics. We talked about the very basics of ergonomics, then we talked about eye strain, microbreaks, seated position for least body strain, and workstation positioning and equipment. If you feel like that helped you out, that's amazing. That's what I was hoping for. If you feel like you need to talk more about ergonomics, or there's something we didn't cover today, just shoot me a message. We can set up a time to talk, or you can talk to your chiropractor or physiotherapist to talk more about it. People love, helping you out. So thank you for your time and attention. Again, I'm Dr. Giancarlo Carpino. There's my email on the slide if you want to ask me a question regarding ergonomics. You can also check out my website, drcarpino.com, for more free health resources, ergonomics and otherwise, that hopefully can help you and your loved ones out. If you have any questions, let me know. But otherwise, it was thank you again, and take care for now, and I'll see you.